Movies start with introducing a young guy, Kurt Kungle, who is obsessed with being a social media star and becoming viral. He's a cringe magnet, an edgelord, and a cummer. I don't know what a cummer is, but he's probably one of those. In his attempts to go viral, he makes all sorts of content on his channel Kurt's World 96, hoping that one of them will make him famous. This content includes live drawings, reviewing shoes, gaming sessions, and even talking about his favorite keyboard shortcuts. Kurt is just like you and me, except that he's a douche. Kurt has been creating this content for the last 10 years, yet his viewers have not even reached double digits. To make the matter worse for him, a child he used to babysit named Bobby is now an internet celebrity who frequently live streams and has a high number of viewers. One day Kurt reaches a breaking point, so he decides to give one last shot before quitting everything. He comes up with an idea, the lesson in which he decides to instruct viewers on how to become famous on social media as the first step of the lesson. He sets up several cameras and a bunch of water bottles in his car. He then decides to work as a driver for a rideshare app called Spree and live stream every pickup and drop-off service. The first passenger Kurt picks up is a man named Frederick. He's a bigger dong knob than Kurt. This man refuses to put on his seatbelt and is suspicious of the cameras, but Kurt tells him that they're just for protection along the way. Frederick preaches the idea of white supremacy. He claims that white people are the better race and everyone else is inferior, I guess. Being told that you're live on the internet really brings it out of these guys. Hearing this, Kurt becomes worried, as the racism could hurt his live streaming audience, which is currently just Bobby. In order to brush off the topic, he begins driving a bit more recklessly. When the man complains about it, Kurt offers him free water to drink. Shortly after, Frederick starts to feel dizzy, and it is shockingly revealed that Kurt has poisoned the water just to gain people's attention. The man starts coughing vigorously, but Kurt simply puts on some music and speeds away. This results in Frederick's not tragic, I don't know, death. Despite the sinister act, Kurt has only one viewer, Bobby, who believes that the killing was fake. Kurt is unaffected because it is just the initial phase of the lesson. His second passenger is a realtor named Andrea. After a brief chit-chat, she willingly grabs a poisoned water bottle and soon passes away. Without Kurt having to put in any effort, he then goes to the back seat and shows the body properly on the camera. Amidst this, he receives a FaceTime call from his father, but Kurt hangs up on him, saying that he can't talk right now. After this, he proceeds to wipe the suspicious evidence. He unlocks Andrea's phone with her dead face, rates himself 5 stars, and transfers the fare. He also delivers a rude message to her colleague so that she won't be expected at work. Upon disposing of the body, Kurt proceeds to pick up his third passenger, an arrogant man named Mario. Kurt tries to strike up a conversation with him in an attempt to make him drink the water. However, Mario refuses to listen and asks him to focus solely on driving. A short while later, Kurt takes a detour to pick up another passenger. Mario is clearly against it and complains, but Kurt reminds him of his agreement to a shared ride. The fourth passenger happens to be Jessie, a famous influencer and stand-up comedian, but she cancels the ride as soon as she hears Mario hitting on her. Seeing her walk away, Mario, who is now interested in her, pushes Kurt into convincing her for the ride. As a result, he offers to drive her for free, which she agrees to for some reason. As they drive, Kurt learns that Jessie has a huge fan following, so he asks how she managed to gain such followers. In response, she simply says that she's funny. Throughout the drive, Mario keeps hitting on her, while Kurt keeps asking her to promote his channel on her platform. When Jessie is unable to tolerate all of this, she records everything on her phone and uploads it to her social media before storming out of the car. This leaves Kurt upset, as he just lost his chance to befriend a successful influencer. As a result, he changes routes and drives Mario to a distant construction site, claiming it to be a shortcut. His reckless driving makes the man feel sick, so Kurt urges him to get out of the car and throw up. Despite initial reluctance, Mario steps out to take a leak. At this moment, Kurt plays a song at full volume and speeds the car towards Mario, slamming him to death. But even after doing all of this, his channel doesn't grow in the aftermath. Kurt stalks Jessie on her social media and finds out that she'll be performing in a comedy show that will be live streamed to millions. Later, he stops at a gas station to refill his tank and clean up the car. While doing so, he argues with Bobby, who tells him that his stream is boring and that he should spice it up. Bobby also shows how he creates his fun content by pranking people as well as conducting social experiments. Heeding to his advice, Kurt drives recklessly for his next PTH passengers. A trio of socialites, Kendra, Richard, and London. Kendra and Richard are frightened by his driving, but London loves it. As a result, she jumps into the front seat in order to chat with Kurt. She got dumped by Ryan a long time ago and is looking for a new boyfriend. Eventually, he drives them towards an isolated junkyard. Kurt then tells Richard and Kendra to hang out of the sunroof, as they'll soon be arriving at a beautiful view. The duo complies and go live from their respective social media accounts, but in an unexpected turn of events, Kurt shuts the sunroof and tracks the two of them. He then pulls over at a desolate area where a group of wild dogs suddenly attack them. They feed on Richard and Kendra, while Kurt kills London with a drill. After the incident, Kurt takes his vehicle for a wash, during which he calls Bobby for his opinion. Unfortunately, the boy dismisses his stream as dull and even admits that he didn't watch the triple kill. Kurt asks for the reason why Bobby hasn't given him a shout out yet, to which the latter replies that he should get more authentic. Like Jessie following this, Kurt goes to meet him in person, demanding that he share his stream. However, Bobby simply makes fun of him in front of his his live audience. When he continues to insult him, Kurt pulls out a knife and stabs him. Their scuffle soon attracts a large audience. Bobby tries to defend himself with a gun, but Kurt somehow manages to seize the weapon and shoots him to death. Despite this grim reality, the viewers believe that the murder is fake. Kurt then hosts his stream on Bobby's feed and even records himself showering in Bobby's blood. Amidst this, he receives a text message from his father, who needs a ride to a nightclub. At first, Kurt doesn't want to help him, but when Dad mentions that he'll be meeting a famous DJ, Uno, and the audience says that Uno is awesome, Kurt agrees. Kurt then picks him up, and the two converse while heading towards the club. Through their conversation, we learn that they don't have a good relationship, which becomes even more evident when they get into an argument. In addition, Chris discovers Bobby's gun in the car, which results in another discussion between the father and son. Eventually, they arrive at the club, where they approach Uno. Kurt asks if she can tag his channel in a post, to which the latter agrees, under a condition he drives her to a taco truck. Kurt then drives her to a nearby taco truck, where he clicks some pictures of her later while he goes to get some food. Uno waits for him in his car. As she looks around, she discovers the gun, which she uses as a prop, and poses with it on her live stream. Shortly after, she drinks some of the poisoned water, which causes her to cough before passing out. By the time Kurt returns, she already seems to be lifeless. Upon realizing what has happened, he throws away the water bottle and attempts to drive away, but he's stopped by two police officers as they interrogate him. Kurt pretends that Uno is his girlfriend, who just fell asleep after a party, but all of a sudden, she wakes up as she didn't drink enough water to die. She panics upon seeing the cops, so she accidentally shoots one of them before running away. Kurt tries to flee, but he too is pursued by more officers. All of these incidents are boosting his live stream viewers, which fills him with joy. In an attempt to outrun the cops, Kurt begins driving like a maniac until he ends up crashing into a homeless camp. By this point in time, Kurt's murders start coming to light, and he is dubbed the Rideshare Killer. As a consequence of these tragic events, Spree is temporarily shut down to allow an investigation to take place. In the next scene, Jessie is given a ride to her show by her fellow stand-up comedian Mike. Throughout the way, he annoys her with his non-stop talk, boasting about his contacts. Upon reaching the venue, Mike addresses the audience with his performance, but he's unable to make anybody laugh. However, the public go crazy. When Jessie takes the stage, as she begins her performance, Kurt is seen sitting in a corner, recording his live stream after delivering a few jokes. She talks about her Spree experience with Mario and Kurt, expressing disdain for people's desperation for social media fame. She emphasizes that true happiness cannot be attained through online validation, and no matter the number of views, one is always being judged and hated for other people's entertainment. Jessie concludes her act by smashing her phone on stage, followed by a mic drop, permanently ending her reliance on social media. Kurt appears to be touched by her speech, so he leaves the scene without creating any. Upon learning about the temporary shutdown of Spree, he books a ride via another app called GoGo. Not long after, a driver picks him up for the ride. Along the way, he jokingly claims that he's not the crazy driver that's been killing people all night. Kurt, whose face in the dash cam, says it all takes this personally, so he doesn't hesitate to commit another murder. Meanwhile, Jessie is tired of Mike following her with a camera on her face, unable to tolerate him any longer. She books a ride via GoGo and leaves the scene, but much to her shock, it's Kurt who's driving the car. He reveals that he was on her show earlier when she made fun of him. Sensing the imminent danger, Jessie tells him to pull over the car. However, Kurt ignores her and instead gloats that she has no way of calling for help because she destroyed her phone on stage. Now that she's unable to get out, Jessie tries another way to stop him. She eventually strangles him with a charger cable, causing the vehicle to crash into a trash container. However, Kurt manages to fight back and delivers a punch, rendering her unconscious. He drives Jessie to his home's lawn and places her in front of the car, his headlights. He then pulls the audience on what he should do with her, and they demand that she be killed. Following this, Kurt prepares to run the vehicle over her, but his camera falls down at the last moment. By the time he readjusts it, he loses sight of Jessie, prompting him to step out of the car to search. The clever Jessie uses this chance to slip into the vehicle and take over the wheel. She then attempts to run him over, but she loses control, causing her to crash into his house. Kurt quickly retreats into a room while Jessie is confronted by his intoxicated dad. Their shock intensifies upon discovering C's mother lying lifeless on the floor. Here, it's revealed that she was Kurt's very first victim, whom he killed off camera. Before Dad can confront him, Kurt grabs Bobby's gun from the car and guns him down. He then intends to kill Jessie as well, but she hurriedly gets back into the car and crushes him against the wall. After this, she cautiously walks out to check, only to learn that he isn't dead yet. In a panicked state, she smashes his head with his phone, ultimately resulting in his demise. Jessie then reads the online shot from his live stream, in which the viewers demand did she take a selfie with Kurt. Surprisingly, she goes for it. In the following days, Jessie becomes a nationwide star for disrupting Kurt's rampage, while Kurt and his killings become revered in small corners of the internet. A user in one of these corners announces that he has finished compiling Kurt's killings into a film and has titled it Spree.